In case you are not a die-hard Lafayette Leopard football fan and you have not been with us since noontime today, this is Signing Day Central presented by Coke Zero. We're at the Berger Varsity Football House and we are talking football, scholarships for the first time in 2013, and it has been an exciting day as Lafayette has signed all of the players that they thought they were going to get as of last night. They are all signed, sealed. They will be delivered here before the first practice begins in the fall. I've talked to Mike Joseph, my cohort on the Lafayette Sports Network, about the incoming class. Now I'm going to go to the real experts, the guys that had to go out on the road and get the job done. I'll start with Mickey Fein. 1 hour from now, I will sit down with John Luce. And then, of course, head coach Frank Devani coming up at 5:30. In between that, at 5 o'clock, we'll have the director of admissions, Matt Hyde, and we'll talk about his role in getting all these kids on campus. Mickey, it's a different year. I mean, I look at the states, 9 of them: Colorado, Tennessee, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, New York, Florida, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. That is not a normal recruiting schedule nor tour for the Lafayette assistant coaches. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a little different this year, you know, obviously with the scholarships, being able to go around and find different types of kids, you know, in different regions, and, you know, being able to take, you know, those guys and not having to worry about, you know, financial side of things, and having a scholarship and making sure that they're okay with those things, you know, so we were ready to go with that.
Yeah, you told me the difference was a matter of moving from 3 real concerns to 2 real concerns. You expressed it so well, I'll let you do that.
Yeah, you know, it used to be, you know, academically where they fit for us, athletically where they fit for us, and then financially, you know, could they afford it, or could we afford to give them financial aid for them to work for their family? So, you know, with the scholarships, we were able to take away one of those pieces, and, you know, the other 2 are still very important for us.
The job doesn't get any easier, however. I mean, I know you probably felt a little bit better walking into the homes knowing what you could offer, but by the same token, there's a little more pressure on making sure you get the kids here that you need to get here to win. And secondly, I think the pressure of knowing that the other Patriot League schools also had scholarships available.
Yeah, and you know, we're not going to take the number of kids that we've taken in the past, so obviously every single one of those kids that comes here, you know, is very important to your program and what you're doing. So yeah, that's a big piece of this whole thing. Obviously, it has been the same way in the past, you know, but, you know, with more numbers, you know, in the past, it's a little bit different, you know, coming into now with it only being 20 this year. You know, you got to make sure that every single one of those is a guy that's going to be out there and ready to compete. Before you go out on the road, I assume you analyze, well, I don't assume it, I know it. You analyze what you have coming back, what your needs are as far as the future is concerned, and some of them, the very near future, maybe as soon as next year. So as you reflected back on the offensive side of the football last year, what did you feel were the areas of concern going into this recruiting class? Well, it was just getting depth, you know, at positions. I mean, we're blessed that we have all 11 starters coming back on the offensive side of the ball. Excited about all those guys, but you know, at the same time, when you're looking at, you know, scholarship kids, obviously you want them to come in and compete, you know, right off the get. You know, our philosophy is best player plays. You know, we've had 2 Rookie of the Years back-to-back years, so, you know, we kind of believe in that philosophy. We don't care if you're a senior or a freshman. You know, if you're a guy out there getting it done, we want you to be out there, and we're going to give you the ball.
Of course, going out there then, as you mentioned, with 11 guys for the most part towards the last half of the season, we're all underclassmen. Was there a specific area, however, that you did recognize as an area that you needed to have satisfied right away?
Well, you know, we made sure that, you know, the quarterback situation, you know, was, you know, obviously that's always a big piece, you know, in the offensive side, and it's such an important piece of, you know, the whole team, not let alone the offense. So, you know, so number one, that was the first part. Then receivers, we wanted to get a couple guys, you know, there, and then at the tailback position, and then, you know, the big boys up front were, you know, are always where we want to start and make sure that those guys are ready to go. So that's what we looked at, and that's what we got done here.
The other obvious question that I brought today was the fact that if you get kids from North Carolina, Tennessee, Colorado, how do you find them? I mean, how do you find those kids out of the thousands and thousands of kids that are playing football across the nation?
They have this crazy thing called the internet, you know. No, but, you know, honestly, it's you know, a network of us, you know, finding either high school guys that we know or college guys maybe at a higher level that, you know, they have recruited the kid and don't necessarily think that he's going to be, you know, a 1A guy, and they give us some names, and, you know, they drop down to our level, and then we just chase it down. You know, it has been easier because, you know, film is so much more available, you know, being online. They can email us and we can check that out. And then that's where, you know, getting to them and finding out, are they really 6'2"? Are they really as big as they say they are, and how good they are? You know, so those are the things that you kind of, how it trickles down, you know,
So
find
it's
those
kind of
guys.
a combination of kids finding Lafayette, you finding the kids, coaches' contacts and all of that before you put that book together and say, this is who we're going after.
Yeah, and just, you know, you put the board together, and where does this kid, you know, lay as far as, you know, on that board as far as talent-wise, and then you got to go find out what kind of kid is he. Is he a character kid? Is he a kid that can fit in here at Lafayette? Is he a guy that, you know, we're excited about and is excited about leaving his home? You know, because that's another piece of this thing too. Not a lot of guys.
Colorado.
Yeah, but, you know, first and foremost, we want to make sure, you know, in our area that we're solid. You know, with the New Jersey, Pennsylvania. You know, that's, you know, a big piece. Obviously, it always will be here. You know, there's great football in that area, and then from there, you know, okay, what else is out there?
All right, I'm going to put you to work now and test your memory a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, you've spent the last few months dealing with all these kids. I'll give you a name. I'll tell a little bit about him with for the folks at home. And you just give me your reaction to this young man. We'll start with Aiden Greenfield, a tailback out of New York, Miller Place, New York. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's an explosive kid. You know, really excited about him. You know, obviously it's showing right here, you know, what he can do with the ball in his hands. He's able to get out and, you know, finish things when he gets in the open space. And that was really the one thing that we saw with him, is when he saw a crease, he hit it, and then he finished it. You know, I like those guys that I don't have to call another play after they hit a big one. You know, when we get down there, if they want to score, I'm okay with that. Yeah, so, and obviously he has the ability to do those things, you know, with, you know, what we saw on film.
Well, one of those guys you hope to open up a hole for a guy like Aiden Greenfield is Tucson Helm, and I know you and I talked about him a little earlier, offensive lineman, 6'6", 265, so he brings immediately the kind of size you need to play college football. He's out of Newburgh, New York, and you just love the potential of this young man.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the size and the frame that you're looking for, and the work ethic. You know, those guys up front, you know, it's a tough position. And you got to make sure that those guys are in that mindset that they want to work hard and really get after themselves. Actually, their offensive line coach, you know, at Newburgh is a UMaine Black Bear that I played with and actually coached. So
that helps.
You know, able to get a full character of him and what we're doing here, and really understanding what he's all about. And, you know, so that really helped us with him.
Another offensive lineman is Devin Leach. Good player, good size, 6'3", 280. He's a wrestler, and I know wrestlers are guys you like to get in here because they have great feet. They always talk about the feet of offensive linemen.
Yeah, and he's a kid too. When you shake his hand, he tries to rip your arm off. You know, and I like that when guys.
Remind me when I try to shake.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you want those guys up front, because if they want to tear off the D-line's arm, I'm okay with that. You know, so he's a kid that we're excited about, and, you know, really has, you know, that toughness that you need in an inside. He's more of a center guard kid for us.
Talking about toughness, I have followed some North Penn football over the years, having done a lot of high school games around here. We've run into North Penn during the playoffs. They're tough kids. They're hard-nosed kids. They play a great football schedule. Kyle Mayfield, their tailback, comes in as maybe the kind of kid that can get that 1 or 2 yards when you need him and also break. Yeah,
and the other thing with him is he is a great kid. I mean, he's a tremendous character kid, and, you know, always smiling, and really understands, you know, what Lafayette's all about, and is excited to be here. And, you know, as soon as he saw the place, this is where he wanted to come, and we're excited to have him. You know, obviously Coach T and myself, you know, we like guys that like to smash it up in there, and, you know, he's definitely one of those kids. He's a thick kid, he's a big kid, and we're excited to have him in the backfield here.
All right, more offensive linemen coming in. 6'4", 275 out of Scarsdale, New York. Matt McCann, a kid that can play tight end, he can play offensive line, and a good athlete. He's got good legs.
Yeah, you know, he's going to be, you know, an offensive lineman for us, and, you know, can really move. He's another tall, framed kid. You know, has frame to put on some more weight, and that's what you're looking for, those guys, especially, you know, we got some guys coming back. We wanted some guys to kind of get into the weight room and really, you know, get after it, and all those guys up front, you know, are able to do that and really get after it with Coach Potts, and, you know, get bigger, faster, and stronger, and really understand what the scheme is. You know, Coach Clayton does a great job with those guys. and we're ready to get him on campus.
I know you didn't make the trip to Colorado personally, but our last signee today, and basically because of the time zone, it came in a little bit later than the others. Hunter Pryce is a wide receiver. You got to love his size at 6'3", 185 pounds, and I know you're high on him.
Yeah, I actually did get out there to see him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
so
I
I wasn't there the first time, but I did get out to see him, and he's what we're looking for. Obviously with the success like a guy like Mark Ross has had, Mitch Bennett. We like big guys around here that can go up and make plays on the football, and that's what you see with Hunter. He's a kid that when the ball's in the air, he goes and gets it. And then when he catches it, he can finish it, obviously, like he did on that play right there.
So he'll be a good one, too. Drew Reed, I know you have a special place in your heart for quarterbacks, being a former college quarterback at Maine. Drew Reed out of Lakeland, Tennessee. And again, how do you find a Lakeland, Tennessee quarterback and then get him to come to Lafayette College?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, we got a call from, a higher level guy that said, hey, we're not going to take this kid, but I think he's got something. And from what we saw on film, he did. And then when I went down and visited with him, he is just a cool customer. One of those guys that he's got that flat line. When you're talking to him and you need that, at the quarterback position, there's always the fine line between being too high and too low. And he's a kid that just really can make plays with his feet, as you see on this right here. Can go out of the pocket and get in the end zone and then make plays down the field with his arm. But, is a leader and understands, where it's going with the football. His junior year, he had, one game in the playoffs, he went 20 for 20. And it's tough to do that on air, So, to understand what those guys are and what he can do, that's how we found him.
Just out of curiosity, when you go to visit somebody like him, do you go out in the backyard and make them throw a football? Or is it all based on
NCAA
film?
rules don't allow you to do all those things.
So it's all based on film?
Yeah, you do it off film, but if there's guys that they're working out, if they, are out there and they're throwing with other guys, obviously we can see them do that. If they're working out in the weight room, depending on the NCAA rules of when the timing is and what we can actually see with them. And I had actually, been down in that area before, when I was at Tennessee Martin, so was very familiar with the Memphis area and the type of football that he's playing. He's playing at the highest level in that area. So, he's getting it done at the highest level down there, and we're excited to have him up here and ready to go.
And some kids, of course, you see during the camps that are held in the summertime.
Yeah, we got a couple of those guys we're going to be talking about here soon.
Another quarterback, Blake Searfoss out of Flemington, played at Huntington Central. A good-sized kid, too, at 6'2", 195.
Yeah, Blake is, he went to the Hun School this year and actually PG'd. I had actually recruited him the year before when he was at Huntington Central. He was a one-year starter at Huntington Central and then PG'd. Ended up going to the Hun School and, really doing a great job. The thing with him is he's got a live arm and really can push the ball vertically down the field. As you know from watching us, we like to push the ball down the field, and, he's a guy that can really do that, so. Student of the game too. He's fun to talk to about football, and he's excited and kind of a gym rat as far as the video things and
a little extra year of maturity that certainly helps too with the Hun School experience.
There's no doubt. With us not redshirting in the Patriot League, get a PG that's a year older and understands the game a little bit more. We're excited about that.
How about Connor Stottle? I've heard some great things about this kid. It's not normal when you talk about a kid being nasty, and it's a good thing. But when you have an offensive lineman that's big, strong, and nasty, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, when you talk offensive line, you want to start with that. Big, strong, nasty, and they're big kids. So as you see right here, he's really getting out there and then punching guys, and you see they fall down when he hits them. And he is a massive humanity. He fills the door when he walks in, and you see it. And he plays basketball. He's an athletic kid too. So, fired up to get him here.
6'5", 285. He will fill up a uniform when he gets here.
He's that tackle type, kid. And it was funny when he first walked in, and we went, wow, those look like scholarship offensive linemen right there. He's a guy like that. So.
Well, being a quarterback, I know you also always have an affinity to wide receivers. And here's another guy you're high on. Good size, 6'2", 180. He's out of Colts Neck, New Jersey, Tim Vangelis. Yeah,
Tim is a kid that I actually had at Rutgers camp. I worked Rutgers camp, and he was actually in our group. And so, Tim, if you're watching line 2, we're ready to go. That's how we started every single day, with attendance. And he's just a kid that we really got a mutual relationship going, and he's just a natural route runner. kid that understands and has a niche for running, you know, routes, and you know, it's tough to teach that when a kid just kind of gets it. He has soft hands and can make big plays, and you know, I actually went and watched him play basketball, you know, a couple weeks ago, and we got to talk about, you know, him finishing around the rim, but you know, he actually did a couple things. Great job defensively on a couple guys out there. But you see him in his return game here, you know, returning a punt for a touchdown, and you know, he was in a one-on-one situation with some really high major DBs in that Rutgers camp, and you know, was able to get open and make some plays and make some head spin. So,
well, according to Matt Panther, your game isn't all that good as far as basketball is concerned.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I enjoy playing with Panto because he makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah. You just have to worry about stepping on him.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's the big problem when you're out there with Matt. Matt, by the way, is kind of putting this whole day together. We don't mind making fun of him. Spending 5 hours with Matt is not fun at all. I know you're not all that involved with special teams, but Ryan Forrester, we should talk about him. He comes in as a punter, and you know, you always say, are any of these guys going to start next year when they come on campus? Right now, this young man is our starting punter.
Yeah, you know, on offense, you know, we're not sure if any of those guys are going to start. Or, you know, he better start.
Yeah, know? We don't have any punters on the roster.
And I am tied in. You know, I do coach the kickers, and
okay.
You know, get tied into those guys with Ryan. But he also kicks as well. But you know, does a great job, and he's a great kid with a great family. You know, we're excited that he's here and ready to go. And you know, obviously, you come in, you know, and there's nobody in front of you in the depth chart. You know, you better get that thing done. If not, we're going to have to get the rugby style out there and get it ready to roll.
Well, I know the next time I'll see you in a football sense, I'll probably see you playing some golf this summer. But the next time in a football sense,
I'll be trying to play golf, and you will be playing golf.
Well, that's
so,
true.
You know,
There's a difference. Will be April 20th for the spring game, and that's one of the worst days in the world for this guy. Is he and John Luce go up against each other? It's just not fun. For the two of them. Fun for us, but not so much for him.
I was thinking that you and Mike should call the spring game. That's what I'm going with.
Well, you know so there are times when I think I could make some better
John
calls.
and I will switch spots, and then you guys can go. I know, yeah.
I'm all for it. Only just don't be too good on the microphone, or we may end up with nothing, as a matter of fact. Well, that's it with Mickey Fein. I hope you've enjoyed this session with the offensive coordinator. Coming up, John Luce. He'll get a chance to give some shots towards Mickey. Once again, if this is the time to go on GoLeopards.com, if you want to order your season tickets for all new season ticket holders, get on there right now, and for $60, you can get season tickets to the 5 Lafayette home games, including Lafayette at Lehigh, the 149th edition, next season. $60. It's on GoLeopards.com. When I come back, again, I think it's 3 o'clock, because these hours are running together.
4 o'clock.
Or 4 o'clock? Yeah. All right. I will have.
I am better.
I will have head coach John Luce. And by the way, Matt does know the difference between 3 and 4. So I'll be back at 4 o'clock with John Luce. Remember, coming up, 5 o'clock, Director of Admissions. 5:30 is signing day recap. We'll sit down with head coach Frank Devani and just look at how this whole day went. Thank you.
Good to be here.
We'll be back.